What's good, family? It's your boy Either Real, and I'm just gonna run over this playoff bracket. I'm gonna make my bold Super Bowl predictions based on what I've seen. And like so far, man, this is a very interesting playoffs indeed. Like just at these matchups, I'm seeing a lot of familiar matchups. And I'm just gonna run over them. I'm not gonna spend too much time on him, but I already know who's gonna go to the Super Bowl. Like it's and again, I want people to very pretty much pay attention because it's all about matchups basically. It's all about which team max up better. Which team has a better chance of beating everybody else around them. If they was to, that's what you got to look at. Which team is the most performed, and that's how I base my predictions. I don't base my predictions just on conspiracy theory. I've told you this. I don't look at gematria. I look at basically overall performance. I'm looking at stats. I'm looking at who's healthy, who's injured, because that all plays a factor. Like, for example, the Browns are going into this weekend. They're going into this weekend with their head coach, basically out with coronavirus. I look at those type of things. Okay, so I want people to understand that and notice that and just take notes. These are things to look at, but they're still effective. So, matter of fact, let's start with the Browns. Let's start over here to Cleveland versus Pittsburgh. This is the most oldest matchups in this playoffs only because of the history of these two teams. Now, for those who don't know, man, this is the first time in 17 seasons that the Cleveland Browns are actually in the playoffs. They finally basically broke the spell. They broke that long drought of not reaching the playoffs. The Haslam family has went through years of pretty much disappointment. I think the last Browns team, and ironically, they played the Steelers. And that was a Browns team led by Ty Detmer. And for the Steelers, I think you had Tommy Maddox. This is long before Ben Roethlisberger came in. Benny Roth wasn't there yet. I think you had Tommy Maddox. I think Cordell Stewart might have been injured because he was still around. Cordell Stewart was still playing for this team, but he was on. This is a season before he. I think this is on there. He was still around. I think he might have been hurt because I think Tommy Maddox started, and you had Hines Ward, of course, Jerome Bettis. The bus was there. With Coach Bill Cowher, that Steeler team. Now I'm basically gonna give Pittsburgh Steelers an advantage because they're in Heights Field, and this is the first time where this Cleveland Browns team is in the playoffs. And I don't know how Baker Mayfield is going to be able to react to that crowd. And don't get me wrong, this is a Steeler team that's basically first time in the playoffs in a couple of years. Big Ben is not he's not a young man anymore. Okay, old Benny Roth he's like I said, this man is 38, he's in his late 30s. Now, Juju Smith-Schuster is definitely a key factor. The Steelers are definitely going to have to. He's definitely on their game plan. And knowing Mike Tomlin, he always comes up with the best playbook for his team. But the thing is, man, the Steelers have to take this Browns team seriously. This is a Browns team that know how to pass rush. And I'm on record saying this for like the last 3 years that this Browns team was going to eventually make the playoffs. I've told everybody this. If you paid attention, for those who followed this channel, and you pay attention to my videos, I spoken as this. I told you one of these years the Browns was going to break through. Now he finally did. The whole team is full of first round draft picks except for Jarvis Landry, who came from the Miami Dolphins, but he's a veteran receiver. They also got two running backs now. They got Nick Chubb, and by the way, Nick Chubb is one of the hardest running backs to hit. It's hard bringing that man down. He's like literally a big old bowling ball knocking out pins out there. And then you have Kareem Hunt. And for Kareem Hunt, he's turned. Kareem Hunt is literally, even though he put on weight, that man still got speed and agility. So that's worked out well for Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was able to mix up that offense because he has two running backs he can rely upon. He can rotate in and out. But again, I got Pittsburgh winning that only because of the experience. They're the much, like Mike Tomlin is a far better coach. He's the only coach besides John Harbaugh who has the most experience going into these playoffs. And plus, for Mike Tomlin, He knows there's no Bill Belichick to stand in his way anymore. The problem for the Steelers is the New England Patriots have been in their way the last for like the entire decade. They were getting their behinds beat by New England. The Steelers are like 0 for like 4 against New England. That's not the case anymore. So the Steelers know they can pretty much go all. They have a clear shot to go all the way to the AFC Championship game. So I'm going to take Steelers in that matchup, but Browns can definitely surprise you. I would not be surprised if Browns actually pull off the upset. Because again, Benny Roth is literally a big old bullseye. He can't get out the pocket at all. And I've said this, I'm on record saying this. And I'm going to say this now before I continue. For the veteran quarterbacks that's in this team, that's in this playoffs now, that's if you're a team of the Saints, okay, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Indianapolis Colts, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, basically Breeze, Beatty, Roethlisberger, and Phillip Rivers, if these quarterbacks don't take their team to the Super Bowl, because them going to a conference championship ain't enough. If they can't get to a Super Bowl, then it's time to pack it in. It's time to let it go. I don't know why these guys are still playing. It's ridiculous. But let me digress and get back on point. So yeah, I got Pittsburgh beating Cleveland basically this weekend. Next up, we got Buffalo and Indianapolis, and this is another classic matchup from the 1990s. Back when Indianapolis and Buffalo shared a division. In the days when Buffalo had Jim Kelly, Andre Reed, Bruce Smith, Thurman Thomas, them days. You also had Quinn early later on, but you have it was them days, right? And then the Colts had Jim Harbaugh and Marshall Faulk. Marvin, you also had Marvin Harrison, a young Marvin Harrison back then. So yeah, we talking about those days. I'm gonna take Buffalo because the thing about Phillip Rivers, his window's already closed. Phillip Rivers should have retired years ago, at least 3 or 4 years ago. Even though again Phillip Rivers is definitely the veteran quarterback they were needing, and Frank Reich his team is very effective. It just the problem was Andrew Luck decided to retire the way he did. He had every right to. That was his decision. But the thing is, I don't trust Phillip Rivers at all. And if you Rivers, this is the first time where you're in the playoffs in like a year or two, and you face the Buffalo Bills team you never faced. Let the record show that Phillip Rivers this is the first time Phillip Rivers actually ever faced the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. Because that's how bad Buffalo was in the AFC back in those days. When Phillip Rivers got drafted to the Chargers in early 2000, you had LT, you had Quinn Jammer, and you had Vincent Jackson. Antonio Cromartie, they never faced Buffalo. Remember, those are the days when New England was still dominating. So that goes to show you how good Bill Belichick was and how effective he was on the AFC. Because it took the Bills years to get back to this, get back into contention like that. And this is the second year where they're contending. But now I got Buffalo winning. I don't see Buffalo losing. Bills is a very dangerous team in the AFC. As of right now, Bills is the most dangerous. Yeah, Tennessee can get down. Baltimore got the team from last year. Lamar Jackson is definitely stronger. And Pittsburgh are who they are. But the Bills, I'm going to tell you that right now. Bills got a strong chance. Bills can even give KC a run for their money. I'm just going to tell you that. I'm warning you right now. The Bills is nothing to be playing with. They're a team you must take seriously. I'm going Buffalo. Buffalo's not going to lose to Indianapolis. The way Josh Allen's playing, they now got a legit receiver in Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs was the receiver they was missing. You still got Cole Beasley. They got one of the best defensive linemen in the best front seven in the league. I'm going Buffalo, definitely. I think at this AFC, Buffalo pretty much, like besides Kansas City, Buffalo pretty much has the deepest roster. As far as playmaking, yeah, they're gonna. I'm taking Buffalo. There's no way Buffalo's gonna lose, especially after last year. When they missed that one sack to Deshaun Watson and win the game, no, they don't have to worry about it no more. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Now the Colts are still respectable. They gotten this far, but no, Buffalo is just too experienced. Now we have a rematch of last year, Baltimore versus Tennessee. Yes, Derrick Henry to me is an MVP candidate. He's like number 6 in the race. Because in my opinion, you got Aaron Rodgers at 1, Patrick Mahomes at 2. I would put Alvin Kamara at 3, Benny Roth at 4, Russell Wilson at 5, and then Derrick Henry is number 6. Derrick Henry is the best running back in this league. This is the second year in a row where Derrick Henry has actually carried this Tennessee Titans team offensively. I mean, yes, Ryan Tannehill has been making plays with his arm, right? He's a way better quarterback than Mariota was, but Derrick Henry is the main reason why this Tennessee Titans team is back in contention. He's the new Eddie George. But I like the thing about John Harbaugh. I don't see John Harbaugh losing to the same team twice. I believe Lamar Jackson is a better player now. The Ravens know what they have to do. I don't see Baltimore losing to them. Not like last year. I'm gonna take the Baltimore Ravens because I still want to see Lamar versus Mahomes. But Lamar versus Mahomes is going to be box office. That's going to be a lot. That's going to be a very high rated game, and we're going to get to see two young quarterbacks duke it out. That's pretty much going to be the battle of the AFC. If the Ravens or Chiefs, whoever the winners like I said, whoever the winners, like I said, if the Ravens can beat the Chiefs, they're definitely going to the Super Bowl. I can see it now. They'll be ready to face against either Pittsburgh, Cleveland, or even a Buffalo. But I'm taking Baltimore. I just don't see them losing to Tennessee. Not like last year. They should be, because all they have to do is just basically all they got to do is keep Derrick Henry under at least 150 yards. If they don't allow Derrick Henry to get to up to 200, and if they don't allow Derrick Henry to get in the end zone at least like 3 or 4 times, they should be good. That's going to be the Ravens, because the Ravens definitely do got a defense that can slow them down. They got a defense that can limit Derrick Henry. It's just Lamar Jackson got to have that arm. You got to throw the football if you're going to beat Tennessee. I'm going to take Baltimore over Tennessee, only because I think they're ready. They're strong. And I want to see Lamar Jackson versus Mahomes. Now, moving on to the NFC. Now, I'm going to go down at the bottom. There's a no-brainer. Tampa Bay should be able to beat Washington. Again, Alex Smith is on his last leg. This is ridiculous. Now, I believe the Washington football team made a mistake by basically releasing Dwayne Haskins the way they did. You're going to need another quarterback because Alex Smith is a quarterback right now who needs to be retired. He should not be on the field at all. I'm going to be very honest. But like Tampa Bay got way too many guys over there. They loaded. You got Jason Pierre-Paul. I think the Kasu went over there in the offseason. You also got Leonard Fournette. You got Shady McCoy, Gronkowski. Brady got too many key pieces over there. He got too many Pro Bowlers and former Pro Bowlers to lose to Washington. Washington's going to lose, but I will say that the defense can make it a little interesting because the thing about Washington, they can't upset you. This team did give Pittsburgh, they did end the streak of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh went 11 games undefeated until they ran into Washington. And I believe Alex Smith will have something to prove. If Alex Smith can upset Tampa Bay, because the Buccaneers aren't, I'm telling you right now, Brady is 42 years old. He's not very hard to deal with. And Bruce Arians is not necessarily the best coach as far as getting you to the championship. He still has not gotten to a Super Bowl yet. When he had Arizona and they were like the number 1 team in the NFC. I'm going Brady over Washington, but again, like the Washington defense, they can at least make it halfway interesting. But they don't, like Washington, again, they having quarterback struggles. Now we have New Orleans versus Chicago. Now, I want people to pay attention to this matchup here, and I need people to really hear me. The Saints in the last 3 years are 0-2 against the NFC North. And I believe ever since Bounty Gate, when it was discovered that Sean Payton rigged the game in 2009-010, in the 09 season 10 for his Saints to get to the Super Bowl. Because if you go back on Bounty Gate, every team that was playing had a serious injury. He was paying players extra money to basically put a hit out on the opposing player. That's illegal. He gambled on his own team to get there. And ever since then, the Saints have had bad luck in the playoffs. They have not gotten back there since. And you would think with a team with Alvin Kamara, Malcolm Thomas, right? Even Mark Ingram when he was there. You've had Allen Williams and Latimer. You would think that team would actually get to a Super Bowl, at least have 2 rings by now. But no, that ain't been the case. Not only have they been losing to Minnesota twice, Seattle two times. The first time when they had LaVar Jackson, rest in peace, when they had those 1 uniforms in Beast Mode first year there. The second time was with the Legion of Boom and Russell Wilson. They've basically lost the last 6 years. 6 times they were in the playoffs. And now this is the third year. This is like the third year This is like the third time in a 5-year basis that they're playing a team from the NFC North. Not to forget to mention, if they do get to the NFC Championship game, they may have to run into Green Bay, which is going to be very bad because Green Bay has home field advantage in the cold. Again, that's the one thing the Buccaneers going to have an advantage of. Like even Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? That's why I'm saying I'm not worried about Brady. I doubt Brady's getting there all the way. Brady's not going to get to no Super Bowl because the Buccaneers are not a cold weather team. Yes, Brady was on New England for most of his career, but Tampa Bay is mostly a warm weather team. They're not used to that cold. I'm going to be very honest. It's going to be very hard for a warm weather team to play a team in the cold. And remember, this is the second time where Chicago and New Orleans is playing each other. This is the second time. Remember, the last time these two teams actually played each other was back in 2006, 05-06 playoffs. When the Bears had Tony Dungy coaching them. They had Rex Grossman, Thomas Jones, Julius Jones' little brother. They also had Devin Hester, when Devin Hester was the fastest player in the league. With Brian Urlacher, Hall of Famer. That team was able to beat the Saints that had Drew Brees, of course, Reggie Bush, Deuce McAllister. They beat those type of Saints. And the Saints were at a disadvantage because the Saints were in the snow. Now that's not the case. The Saints should be able to beat this Chicago team because you're in the NOLA. It's going to be turned up. They're going to be very hyped. The only problem is, let's say if Danny Trevathan, Khalil Mack, and Akeem Hicks can keep it interesting. If they can slow the Saints down, because the thing, Drew Brees, like Tom Brady, they're not going to be able to face Drew Brees can't face a long fought game. If the Bears can keep the only hope for the Bears to win this game, they're trying to pull off the upset, is if they slow the Saints down. It's just like Alvin Kamara, the same way with their hand. If you can limit Alvin Kamara, AK, to at least under 100 yards. If you can stop him, if you can get him to at least 4 to 5 a carry, you should be able to. And let's say Drew Brees don't have enough time because again, Brees is 41. He can't escape out the pocket no more. He has no agility. So the key, the strategy for the Bears is pass rush. Get to the quarterback by all means. Right? You're gonna, like I said, Khalil Mack can basically get in Drew Brees' face. And Brees don't have enough time and to get off to Malcolm Butler, either one of his receivers or stretch and try to do screens, they're going to be a lot of trouble. The Saints accelerate with the screen pass. And Bears do have a defense. They're number 3 in the red zone. If the Bears can keep New Orleans within 3 and keep Brees or Alvin Kamara out of that end zone, they should be able to wear him down long enough to try to finish. Because one thing about Mitch Trubisky, he does show up in the playoffs. Remember, this is a Bears team who lost to the Eagles 2 years ago off of a field goal. That game was close. Yes, the Bears got 8 wins, but records don't mean nothing. Again, records officially go out the window in these playoffs. Because now, 3 times now in the last 15 years, we've seen 2 9-7 teams pull off the upset. We've watched the Tennessee Titans just last year, 9-7, beat New England and Baltimore, bounced them both out. And those were the 2 best teams, hottest teams on the AFC. Then we seen the Giants, 9-7 record, go through the Cowboys, the Green Bay Packers, and beat New England. Twice they beat New England. They're the reason why Tom Brady don't have 8 Super Bowl rings as of now. All right? But no, I got New Orleans beating Chicago because, again, New Orleans, again, they're too stacked. Even though Brees is still a high risk, because I feel Brees is gambling with his health, they're still effective. Like, Alvin Kamara is still the man. He's proven that they can even win without Brees. And let's say Brees go down, they do got Jameis Winston. I'm going to take the Saints in this one. Now, Seattle versus LA, that's going to be a dogfight. These are division rivals. The Rams can still get down. Like Jared Goff, he's back to how he was when he took his team to the Super Bowl. The Rams still got a lot to prove. I believe the Rams are hungry again. They want to get back there. The LA moving into the new arena has only inspired them. They're hyped up. The Rams know they have a chance. I believe the Rams go in the conference. They know if the Rams can beat Seattle, they could potentially they could return back to the Super Bowl. And we have seen what the Rams have done against Kansas City 2 years ago in Patrick Mahomes' MVP year. That was one of the highest scores games in NFL history because that was like watching a college game. And I wouldn't mind seeing that. A Rams versus Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl, That would actually be pretty. That would be a great game to watch. But we all know this one game at a time. I'm going to take Russell Wilson because Russell Wilson knows he's not going to ever get MVP. Let's call it for what it is. For some reason, the committee that votes for these MVP awards, they don't like Russell Wilson at all. And I've seen at least twice now that where Russell Wilson should have got the MVP award and never got it. Even last year, Russell Wilson played better than Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. For example, in the second round, when Russell Wilson got to Green Bay, Russell Wilson had his team within 5 points. He actually had the defense in position. All he needed defense to do was stop Aaron Rodgers, force Green Bay to punt the ball, or fumble, force a tunnel, right? Force Aaron Rodgers to give up the ball, and then that would have put Russell Wilson in field position to at least kick the field goal and tie the game in overtime if you couldn't score. Russell Wilson went out with a bang last year in the playoffs, whereas Lamar Jackson, it was over by the first half. Lamar Jackson had no answer for the Tennessee Titans last season. But even now, Aaron Rodgers most likely going to be the MVP. They're not going to give it to Russell Wilson. So if you're Russell Wilson, you got to win. You got to win on the Super Bowl ring. You got to prove to the NFL committee that you're truly worthy of getting an MVP award. He's going to have to play for rings. And sometimes that's really all that matters. Now, me personally, if I was a player like him, I wouldn't care about getting an MVP award anyway. Because you could get an MVP award and your team still don't win nothing. You're there to play for championships. You're there to play for the Vince Lombardi trophy. You're not really there to be an MVP. Don't get me wrong, now being an MVP is good because it's great on your resume to let everybody know that you was the best player of a certain time in a certain season. And there have been players in this league who've gotten multiple MVP awards. We all know Brady's one of them. But again, man, not everybody's going to get that opportunity. Me, bringing home a championship to your stadium, having a parade of your own and getting a ring on your finger, that's worth more than an MVP award. To be an NFL champion, to be the champion of the world, to bring a Super Bowl title, that's worth way more. Yeah, that's worth more than being MVP. To me personally, I'd rather bring home a ring than have an MVP trophy. Don't get me wrong now. It's nice to have an MVP, to win an MVP and be a Super Bowl winner, but everybody's not going to have that opportunity. Now, everybody's not going to get the chance to be LeBron James or Tom Brady. That's just not how life works. But again, like this Seattle Seahawks team, they harm me. Like I told you, man, DK Metcalf, that's somebody who Russell Wilson's been making him look good. And you still got Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett represents the last of the championship Seattle Seahawks team. Bobby Wagner's still there. He still got some pieces to work with. Like, this is Pete Carroll we're talking about. I don't see Sean McVay out coaching Pete Carroll. So I'm going to take Seattle over the Rams to advance. And that's the first round. Now, for my Super Bowl pick, it's going to be between these two teams you see at the bottom. This is going to be the battle of the State Farm quarterbacks. Green Bay and Kansas City, and I'm sticking to that. And I'm choosing those two teams not because they played each other in Super Bowl I, right? I'm not one of these stupid idiots that don't watch football. And that's another thing that's getting on my nerves, man. You got people making predictions based on history. Like, for example, right? Yeah, Pittsburgh and Cleveland played each other, right? But that don't mean Cleveland is going to win the game. And that doesn't mean Pittsburgh is going to win the game. A team is going to win a game by completely shutting down their opponent. That means the opponent, they stand ahead by 2 possessions. And not constantly going back and forth with their opponent. It's going to come down to who has the ball last, who has the best time of possession in these playoffs. These playoffs are a chess match. You have to really practice and prepare for your opponent. Even the Colts and Bills, right? Tennessee and Baltimore, just because these two teams have previously played each other don't mean nothing. They got to actually go out there and win it. And I'm not choosing those two teams just because both Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes are the best promoted. They both in State Farm together. No, Green Bay and Kansas City are the best performed teams. Those two teams match up against anybody. And I'm going to be very honest, man. San Francisco 49ers ain't there to stop Green Bay. Last year, the Niners was the best team to stop Green Bay because not only did they have the defense, they also had the offense. You had Tevin Coleman, you had Deebo Samuel. All right? Y'all need to understand that. You also had Richard Sherman over there. San Francisco was loaded. Joey Bosa. The 49ers was loaded last year. John Lynch took at least 2 seasons to rebuild that team. And that's what Colin Kaepernick get for basically opting out of his team. That could have been Kaepernick last year had he stayed true. That's his fault. He don't want to play anyway, but I'm just putting it out there. The 49ers were stacked up. They couldn't make anybody look good. And once again, Kyle Shanahan blew it. But again, Kyle Shanahan has no excuses. He had the team to stop Kansas City. He just didn't take care of business. Green Bay got nobody like that to stop him. Now, and be realistic, the only team that can stand between Green Bay and getting to a Super Bowl is New Orleans and pretty much Seattle, to just be honest. Because Tampa Bay's not going to beat them. This is Aaron Rodgers' house. The NFC it belongs to Aaron Rodgers. Brady has no business coming over here. And I know, and I told y'all this before, the only main reason why Brady chose Tampa Bay because he's trying to be the first player in NFL history to have home field advantage. And he figured him having home field advantage is going to give him a chance to win a ring, to win a 7th Super Bowl ring, but he's badly mistaken. You're 42 years old. You already got 6. You're being greedy. Same thing with Breeze. The Saints don't need Drew Brees anymore. They had Teddy Bridgewater last year. That's where Sean Payton screwed up at. And once again, you're playing the NFC North. If the Saints lose to the NFC North, you now know why. There been voodoo. It's been a hex. Until Drew Brees and Sean Payton either retire or leave, Saints are never going to have no good luck at all. Because of that bounty gate. Those guys cheated to get there. They got to the Super Bowl against Peyton Manning. It was supposed to be Brett Favre versus Peyton Manning, not Drew Brees. But I still gotta respect New Orleans. They still got a chance to get to a Super Bowl. They can do it this year, but it's not gonna be easy. And that's another thing too. They still have not beaten Seattle. So for you Saints fans, I know I have a friend named Walter. He's been on my case all season because he hates the Cowboys. Every time my Cowboys lose, he'll tag me in it with his yakking mouths. Right? He got his ENJ and he got his Black and Miles, his cigar blunt. And he praises his Saints like they're stronger than my Cowboys. But the Saints still have not proven they're better than my Cowboys because they lost the last 6 times. But no, I'm choosing Green Bay and Kansas City because they're the teams that match up well against anyone. It's like Kansas City can pretty much run through everybody. Because again, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, this is Cleveland's first time in 17 years. Pittsburgh has pretty much got a brand new team. Like TJ Watt is young. Juju Smith-Schuster is young. Those guys don't have enough playoff experience. Right, you don't have Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, or James Harrison no more. Ryan Shazier retired because of his neck injury. Tomlin don't have the same veterans. That's almost a completely young Steeler team. The Colts have Phillip Rivers. He's not taking you nowhere. Buffalo is still a wild card. They're still questionable because, again, Buffalo ain't been to promised land. They ain't been to glory since 94, 93. Since the 93 season, they have not been back to another Super Bowl. They lost 4 years in a row. That was way once upon a time. Lamar Jackson still has yet to prove himself. Because Lamar Jackson has a problem throwing the football. He's got to throw. And in Tennessee, to me, is like Tennessee is still good, but again, they're one-sided because they're hearing Tennessee needs more receivers developed. Their offense is still not there. Yeah, Delaney Walker is a great tight end, but again, like Ryan Tannehill against Kansas City, no, Even though again, Tennessee is inspired, right? Again, if Tennessee do beat Baltimore, KC's going to have to be up guard because Tennessee, I believe, wants to knock off Mahomes. Remember, that was a rematch of last year. But still, man, the Chiefs are still loaded. You still got Chris Smith. You still got Sammy Watkins. Tyreek Hill is the fastest receiver in this league. Travis Kelce, to me, is the best tight end. Behind Gronkowski, he's the best. And then under him is George Kittle. But Travis Kelce is the best tight end in this league. Like, they're still loaded. This is Patrick Mahomes' time, truly. He's taking over this league. At age 24, Patrick Mahomes has not only won an MVP, he's already gone to 2 AFC Championship games. This guy has won a Super Bowl and broke the Madden curse all under the age of 25. He is basically the Steph Curry of this NFL, and I'm not just saying that because he's light-skinned. And as for Aaron Rodgers, you already know this. Like, Aaron Rodgers still got another 6 or 7 more years left. He'll play till he's 40. And remember, Matt LaFleur was in the NFC Championship game last year. They got the same exact team. Devontae Adams, another top 4 receiver. Aaron Jones, underrated running back, one of the best rushers. Look at that defensive line. They're stacked. The Green Bay Packers is all around good. I definitely don't see Buccaneers. Washington ain't gonna do it. The Saints can't take Green Bay in the cold. And even the Rams, right? I don't see the Rams being Green Bay neither. The only team, like I said, the only team that really has a chance against Green Bay is Seattle, because Seattle played them the hardest. Because the problem with the Saints, again, if it's snowing in Wisconsin right now, Green Bay and Saints is in a total disadvantage because they're a warm weather team. This is how the Bears got them back in 2006, because Saints was in that snow. Drew Brees don't do too well in the snow, especially at his age. Because when you get in your 40s, man, that cold weather hits your bones. If you got previous injuries, that's going to be bad for you. So that's the video. I'm going Green Bay and I'm going Kansas City as my Super Bowl picks. Okay, now I'm sticking to it. I'm not going to switch my pick like ZKH does. And even RFG, the chosen one. Those guys will make bold predictions. And that's how I tell, dude. Again, these numbers got nothing to do with these teams, right? They'll make predictions. Then when a team lose in the first or second round, they're going to switch it up again. No, that's not me. I'm sticking to my picks. It's gonna be a State Farm Super Bowl. Because honestly, man, Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes, those are the two that's up for MVP. I don't see Kansas City really losing to any one of those teams. Yeah, the Ravens, John Harbaugh is one of the best coaches besides Mike Tomlin. But Andy Reid, y'all forget, Andy Reid has been in 3 Super Bowls, as I mentioned last year. In my last video. Andy Reid has been in Super Bowls throughout at least 3 decades. In the mid-90s, when he was Mike Holmgren's assistant head coach. Then in 2000, I believe it was in 2004, with the Philadelphia Eagles, when he had Donovan McNabb and Brian Dawkins and Brian Westbrook and Terrell Owens, that Eagles team. And now last year, which was the last of the 2019s, the 2020s. We're officially in a new decade. Like Andy Reid has a chance to basically be a head coach, coaching in 4 Super Bowls in 4 different decades. That is an all-time record for him. And again, Aaron Rodgers, he's a bad man, like as Steve A. Smith quotes. But yeah, Green Bay and Kansas City, those are the 2 best teams all around that I've actually seen. Unless New Orleans or Seattle break through, because Pittsburgh can still get there, right? The Steelers, I'm not going to count Steelers out, because one thing about Mike Tomlin, he knows how to keep that team competitive. Mike Tomlin has a hell of a resume himself. This man's long surpassed his mentor, Tony Dungy, as the best African-American coach to ever be in the NFL, to ever coach an NFL team. He's the best African-American coach. Tomlin has literally 3 Super Bowl rings on his finger. He was the defensive coordinator. He was the DB coach when the Buccaneers beat the Raiders in 2002. And he later got the head coaching job